We say it often on Sunday mornings. The church is not a building, it's the people inside of it. The people who show up to be impacted by what the Holy Spirit is doing in and through them. Then we, the church, get to go out into our community, our schools, our workplace, and allow Jesus in us to be evident to those around us. As a church, as people who believe in Jesus and are committed to doing life together, we believe that growth is a large part of who we are and what we hope to accomplish. Measuring growth is valuable to us because if we aren't growing, then we are dying. But we also value the growth in each and every person within our community. Why? Because when we are growing as individuals, we have a greater ability to affect change in the world around us, simply by being and showing the light of Jesus. Growth is important to us because it is a command given by Jesus before his ascent back to heaven. The disciple Matthew records it this way. Jesus came and told his disciples, "I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." So how do we grow, both as individuals and as a community? We grow through intimacy with God. Now, intimacy might seem like a strange word to use here, but I would challenge you to think about this deeply. Intimacy means knowing someone completely and allowing them to know you completely. What better way to experience a relationship with God? The scary part isn't necessarily getting to know God better. As someone who identifies as a Christ follower, that should really be the desire of our heart. But the scary part about intimacy is allowing someone to see every part of us, revealing the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are afraid that if we allow God to see us, he won't be able to love us, that we would be unworthy of his love. But this couldn't be further from the truth. God already knows us from the inside out, every minute and detail of our life carefully cataloged in his mind as he thinks of us. He loves us as we are, but he loves us too much to leave us that way. He wants the best for us, which means we have to be willing to let him in, to let him work on the parts of us that we are too afraid for him to look at. James 4 tells us that God draws near to those who draw near to him. And Hebrews 11 tells us that God rewards those who diligently seek him. He is waiting on us to make the first move in his direction. As we follow Jesus, our connection and intimacy with God should begin to grow. As that begins to happen, we want to see people challenged to continue moving closer to God. This happens through prayer, reading the Word, responding to the Spirit's conviction and correction, and boldly proclaiming freedom from sin and death, which happens through baptism. Just as growth is a natural part of becoming a Jesus follower, so are relationships, both inside and outside of the church. Our focus at Branches is to help people experience growth by being a part of a community that invites people to belong, to come as they are, before they are expected to behave perfectly. We want people to experience an authentic community where they can be themselves and begin to experience what it truly means to do life with people who are committed to keeping Jesus in the center of their existence. This is why Branches is so excited to see people get into small groups where we can be in close proximity to others who love Jesus and be in that proximity on a weekly basis. When we grow in our relationships with others who love Jesus, we can experience what Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 through 25 talks about. It says, "Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near." By engaging in relationships with people who love Jesus and who love us, we have an opportunity to grow ourselves and to help others grow. Branches places a high value on growth in strength and in number. We want our church to grow in number as our city grows in number. And we want our church to grow in strength, to grow in our intimacy with God and our relationships with others. Branches values growing.